if you call oversight a go chat the second somebody asks you a straight yes or no about dead American probes, you're not defending the military. You are defending yourself. And I need you to watch what happens when a member of Congress brings survivor testimony into the room. And the response is to start yelling about falsehoods. Because this clip is not about who can shout the loudest. It's about who respects the truth when people are bleeding.
Head wounds, heavy bleeding, and then just shrapnel all over. So folks are bleeding from their abdomen, bleeding from arms, bleeding from legs. Secretary Hegseth, do you know who said that?
Good. Start where this belongs. Not on some cable news ego trip, not on some talking point carousel, on the human cost. And notice what Ryan is doing. He's not performing. He is stabilizing what truth matters here. Because somebody lived it. Now, watch how fast this turns into narrative control instead of accountability.
I'm not sure I do.
It was one of our soldiers describing the devastating Iranian drone strike at Port Shuaibah, March 1st in Kuwait. As you know, 6 of our soldiers killed, over 30 wounded. Secretary, do you know the range of the Shahed 136 one-way attack drone, approximately?
It depends on the variant, but it's got serious distance.
Several hundred miles. Do you know how far Port Shuaibah is from Iran?
There's a reason why we took extreme measures of force protection, because we understood the proximity challenges.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to reclaim my time.
This is the first challenge. Ryan is building a chain. Range, proximity, vulnerability, decisions. This is what oversight looks like when the subject is life and death. And Hegseth immediately starts doing that political thing where you answer with vibes, serious distance, proximity challenging. No, numbers, facts, responsibility. That's the job.
It's well under 100 miles. Before the war started, there was clear intelligence that Shuaibah was high on Iran's target list. Internal analysis had said the site was indefensible from aerial attack and should not be used. Yet you sent our soldiers from the 103rd Sustainment Command there anyway. Is that true or false? True or false? Straightforward question.
Are you going to give me a chance to answer or just play gotcha?
Did you send them there or not?
There it is. That word, gotcha. Here's what they are doing when they say gotcha. They're trying to rebrand accountability as rule nil, as if the real crime is the question. And Ryan's question is simple on purpose. Because when you let officials drown you in word salad, the truth disappears. If you can't answer, did you send them there? That's not nonsense. That's dodge.
We took proactive measures from the beginning to ensure force protection and defensive posture were maximized across the theater.
Let's talk about what defenses they had.
Listen, proactive measures, maximize posture. That's a brochure language. That's the Pentagon podium voice. And Ryan's like, okay, if you're claiming defenses, then name them. What did they actually have? Because this isn't a branding exercise. This is about whether people were left exposed.
Prior to the attack, officers on the ground knew our troops were vulnerable. In fact, they requested additional force protection. Did they receive it?
Wherever humanly possible, force protection and counter UAS was always made available.
They did not.
Wherever humanly possible, always made available. That's not an answer. That's a shield. It's designed to sound responsible while committing to nothing specific. So later, no one can pin you down. Now, what's the next part? Because this is where availability meets what people on the ground said they actually had.
In fact, when asked to describe the base's defense, one survivor who's come forward from the unit said, quote, I would put it in the none category. From a drone defense capability, none. So let's be clear, no counter-drone capabilities, no counter-rocket systems, no counter-mortar or counter-artillery, not even the basic overhead protection that you and I had 20 years ago in Iraq.
This is why the go-chair binding is so disgusting. Because Ryan is not inventing a conspiracy. He's stating what survivors are willing to say on the record about what they didn't have. And if your response to that is to play rhetorical defense attorney, congrats. You've just told everybody what matters more to you. The story, not the sonja. And yes, this part is sensitive. It should be. That's the point. People died. So, spare me the ego-driven head tricks.
In Iraq, and now 6 of our soldiers are dead. The next day, you downplayed the attack. You said it was a squirter that squeaked through fortified defenses. But since then, thankfully, brave survivors have come forward to set the record straight. One of our surviving soldiers told CBS, quote, "Painting a picture that one squeaked through is a falsehood." Another said the unit was, quote,
Stop right there. This is the whole credibility fracture. Because if you go out the next day and tell America, don't worry, it was basically one network thing that slipped past strong defenses, you are shaping public perception. And now you've got survivors saying that picture is false. So the question becomes, are we doing through it? But are we doing damage control? And watch how Hegseth responds when Ryan forces him to choose.
unprepared to provide any defense for itself. It was not a fortified position. Another survivor said the building's protection was about as weak as one gets. Secretary Hegseth, that is obviously in direct contradiction to what you said from the Pentagon podium the next day. So are you saying that these soldiers, our soldiers who survived this horrific attack, are lying?
That's not a trap. That's the unavoidable endpoint when leadership's public name collides with the people who were actually there. In a democracy, it do not get to wave away eyewitness accounts with polished talking points. If you respect the troops, you respect their testimony. It don't smear them by implication because it's inconvenient. Now, here comes the 10. Listen for the playbook. Listen for the personal attack. Listen for the attempt to turn accountability into a shouting match.
What I'm saying is before the commencement of the conflict, we put in maximum defensive posture we could.
That's a direct
We
contradiction
moved
to
70
what they said.
in this directing. Can I speak, or are you just going to monologue falsehoods all over the place?
It's not a falsehood.
We moved 7,500 troops off of the
Reclaiming my
X based
time.
on the intel.
Stop.
Based on the intel.
Stop. Reclaiming my time.
Because you yell doesn't
Are
make you right.
calling?
There it is. When he can cleanly reconcile the contradiction, he goes after the process and the person. Monologue falsehood. Not let me clarify but I meant. Not hairs but was in place. No, he tries to delegitimize the oversight itself. That is the oldest move in the boat. If you can without facts, turn it into a white boil. Turn it into you're being unswear. Turn it into you are yelling and picking up yelling.
Doesn't make you right.
I'm reclaiming my time on behalf of these survivors. You just said what they said is a falsehood.
There's a much larger
That
picture.
true?
There's a much larger picture at play here that included integrated air defenses, bunkers, moving people off
Then
the
why,
X
Mr.
to
Secretary,
ensure
are
that they
they
were
dead?
not part of the target. We moved those troops and all across the theater, thousands of troops off the X, off of their bases, because we knew what Iran was going to try to strike, and we knew there
So
could
no
be a
answer.
tragic moment.
No
there could be a
answer, Mr.
tragic moment where
Secretary.
something
Again.
could get through. Of
Again.
course, that's the
I'm
consequence of
reclaiming my
conflict,
time.
and we
Again.
remember those 6 every single day.
I want
This is pure narrative jujutsu. They drops a big number. We moved 7,500 troops because it sounds decisive. It sounds heroic. It sounds like taste lost, but it doesn't answer the actual question Ryan is drilling. But did this unit have? But did told? And why did public messaging sound like fortified defenses when survivors said the opposite? And then he tries the tone policing closer. Just because you hear doesn't make you right. Okay, cute line, Byron line. But here's the problem. The people who were bonded don't care about your one-liner. They care whether leadership is telling the truth and fixing, but failed. Also, notice the insert grid in that. If someone is emotional about that groups, the more is to frame them as irrational. That's how you protect power, not how you protect service member.
But don't play games with.
I'm not playing games.
raising
I
your
want to
voice
finish
and
with
pointing
one more
fingers.
quote from a survivor of the attack, and I put this on the record. Telling the truth is important, and we're not going to learn from these mistakes if we pretend these mistakes didn't happen. Secretary Hegseth, those soldiers told the truth. Those soldiers are braver than you are.
I commend them.
They are asking for accountability. They deserve accountability, and I'm asking for the same, starting with you. And as I said a year ago, you need to resign immediately.
This is the moment people are going to ask about because it's brutal. But the structure of it matter. Ryan anchors it in telling the truth and learning from mistakes. That's the accountability principle. And then he makes it personal because Hegseth made it personal first by calling it falsehoods, by calling it gotcha, but trying to turn survivor testimony into some kind of partisan monologue. If you're a leader and your reflex is to manage the headline instead of confront the contradiction, you are not leading, you are spinning. And yes, if the tropes are coming forward to say the public story wasn't real, then the people at the top don't get to hide behind slogans. They answer or they go. This is what pro-democracy oversight looks like when it's not softened, not sanitized, not turned into polite little sound bites for Sunday shows. That and bonded American truth are not a backdrop for gotcha accusation. Survivors are not props you can wave away with. That's a picture fog. And the second a powerful official starts shouting, hot so, instead of giving set answers, you are watching self-protection live on national television. So here's the line. Accountability is patriotism. Truth is loyalty. And if your instinct is to attack the questioner when the question is built on what soldiers are saying, you are telling on yourself. That's the claim. That's the pattern. And people are then pretending it's acceptable.